What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So in about a month and a half, Redfall will officially release, but yesterday, previews did go live, and we also got an update around the always online single-player situation from Arkane, and we'll go over all of that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about a bit of a surprising move from Nintendo with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom showing up at PAX East. Well, sort of. And we'll also be talking about LEGO 2K Drive as it was officially revealed, and I gotta say, looks better than I was expecting. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're gonna start today with Ubisoft and AI, as they released a video that just got absolutely crushed with downvotes. They showed off a new tool in-house that they are using where AI will essentially work to produce different phrases that NPCs will just randomly say as you're, say, walking through an open world. You can see some of the video here. This titled their Ghostwriter AI tool, where it will generate the first draft of NPC barks, the phrases or sounds made by NPCs when players interact with the game world. The video shows a bunch of phrases that I guess are generated by AI, and then a person will go through, curate, and pick the best ones, or the ones they think sound maybe the most natural or interesting or different. And the idea with AI is that development cycles are getting incredibly long, 7 to 8 years even from what we've seen. And if you can have AI sort of come in and help to shorten some of the tasks, that will, of course, shorten the overall development time. But the concern is things like this will lead to a more robotic and machine-sounding environment around you, with NPCs maybe saying some just very generic stuff. More generic, I guess, than what's already in Ubisoft open world games, but you also consider the idea of AI just outright replacing people in the workforce on development teams, and that becomes a concern going forward 10 or 15 years, or who knows. We've seen how quickly AI has really advanced just in the last year. Who knows where we'll be in 10 years? Ubisoft and other large publishers and developers look to cut costs pretty frequently, and payroll in their workforce tends to be the most expensive part. So if AI can come in and basically do a lot of it for free, I can't necessarily count out Ubisoft and some of these other large companies from not taking advantage of that. Also, we had talked previously about a situation where the Wii U was running into problems with the eMMC memory on board, and that was producing an error code that people were, of course, trying to investigate and figure out how to fix. Well, there's one video that popped up that I think does a really good job going through step by step on how you can attempt to fix this from the software side. This was posted up over on Voltar's YouTube channel and is linked down below in the sources, The Truth About the Bricked Wii U. And in this video, it uses the Raspberry Pi Pico in order to repair bricked Wii U systems that mostly are running into issues on the software side. If you do have a system with a failing eMMC from the hardware side, this won't necessarily fix it because it's possible you may have to replace the chip on board. But for many people who think that they have a hardware issue, they could just have a software issue and this might fix it. This information has been available online, but I think this video does a very good job going through step by step to make it easier for people to follow. So it might be worth a shot just to see if legitimately a Raspberry Pi can fix your Wii U. Oh, and we did get an update on Hellblade 2 and Ninja Theory, and every time they show up with this game, it just looks better and more impressive visually, and yesterday didn't disappoint. At GDC, you can see this video and just shows off the state of Unreal Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 with a nice close-up of her face and just showing some of the facial animations that they have. It is really impressive stuff. And this is what I mean when you go, okay, what's next generation actually going to look like? And if you get stuff like this in more of the controlled environments, I guess some of the cutscenes, the different things, sure, in-engine, great. I don't necessarily think gameplay is going to look like that, but it's still really, really impressive what they've been able to accomplish here with Unreal. So make sure you check that out on YouTube, especially check the box for 4K because it is like mind-blowing stuff with some of the movements of the facial animations. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Redfall. The game is out May 2nd, and by the way, May starting to fill up with some titles in there, which we're talking about another one later on in the month in this show. But Redfall is out right away in May, and we've heard more and more about this game as we've gotten closer to its release, but yesterday, a ton of previews went live. Gameplay, opinions, the whole deal, and the game keeps getting described as a Borderlands or Far Cry like crossover kind of title. And I've thought about this more and more as we've gotten closer to release. This could be what I've been looking for from Far Cry, which I enjoy going through the Far Cry games, kind of turn your brain off and go through some of the checklists to beat the game and then kind of put it away and not do everything in this ridiculously fatigue-inducing world. But I've wanted them to kind of change things up in Far Cry for a little while now. Redfall might be it, because looking at some of the gameplay for it through these previews, it does have that open world style from Far Cry, right? First person shooter, different things to do in the map, but it's more condensed and it feels like you're doing a lot more without having as many checkpoints. And obviously you add in the supernatural element to it and kind of the feel that Arkane brings to their first person shooters. But they mentioned that the gunplay here is much better than previous Arkane games, so I like what I'm hearing here, but the big question was, could this actually be a full single-player game? And it indeed appears to be the case. You can go from start to finish, not playing with another person the whole way through, and they don't try to fill them in with bots or anything. It's legitimately just you, which brings up the question of, why does this have to be always online then if it's there to just be a single-player game? Well, this was addressed, and it appears that Arkane might actually be changing course on the always online situation. This was posted up at Eurogamer with game director Harvey Smith, who talked about quite a few elements of the game, which did include always online. He says, "We listen and we have already started work to address this in the future. We have to do some things like encrypt your save games and do a bunch of UI work to support it, and so we are looking into it. I'm not supposed to promise anything, but we're looking into and working actively fixing that in the future." Now, there was speculation as to why it might be always online, and yes, microtransactions, in-game economy, these are all things that came up, but he says there's no store in the game, and there's no microtransactions, which, again, in this day and age, very surprising to hear that. Goes on to say you can find costumes and things like that in the world. Those are yours. We do not have a DLC. We do have a DLC plan, and a couple of times we'll sell a bundle of stuff like guns, costumes, characters, whatever. Really excited about those things, but it'll just be like DLC that you buy through Xbox or whatever, and there's the Bite Back Edition, that's of the base game, where you get some of that stuff for free. We had that plan with Dishonored. We have that with every game we make. He also went on a bit further to explain the reasoning for the always online stuff, saying it allows us to do some accessibility stuff. It allows us for telemetry, like if everybody's falling off ladders and dying, that shows up. And so we can go and tweak the ladder code. There are reasons we set out to do that are not so insidious. So looking at this, clearly they wanted to always be online so they could collect more and more data to balance and alter the game kind of on the fly. Basically, they can see what everyone's doing and make alterations before people have to report issues or anything there. So I guess in a way, in their mind, if they didn't have to hope that everyone checked the little box that was like, yes, you can share my data and I'll always be online for it. If everyone's just always online, they can kind of count on that connection to make those changes and observe what's going on. But to me, for a few things, one, the idea that if the servers just aren't up, like there could be an outage. Gran Turismo 7 was down for over 24 hours at one point. You just couldn't play the game. And that is a concern when it comes to these always online games that probably could operate fine as a single-player offline experience, and that's one of the reasons I just don't think the idea of being able to gather data and make alterations faster, those benefits outweigh the potential for just outright disaster with a game that could be offline for a while or go away completely. It's possible that the game in the future, servers get shut down, and then that's kind of it. Redfall just goes away. I would prefer them to get to a point where it can be played fully offline, single player, and that way, if anything like this happens, there's still a game there to play. But otherwise, from what I'm seeing and hearing about Redfall, I'm actually getting pretty excited for it, and don't have to wait too much longer. It's out in about a month and a half. Next up, let's talk about a big-time game announcement that happened yesterday, and that's from Valve, and that's Counter-Strike 2. Now, CSGO is an incredibly popular game on Steam. If you, at any time, take a look at the Steam player or concurrent player counts for different games, CSGO is always near the top, right? anytime. 650 to 1.2 million people are concurrently playing this game. So it's no wonder that when rumors started to spread and leaks started to happen that there was a new Counter-Strike game coming out, a lot of excitement broke out. And now we have official confirmation from Valve. Full website is now up, and you can see some of this here. And this is posted over on the Counterstrike.net under CS2, saying the next era of Counter-Strike begins this summer. Counter-Strike 2 is the largest technical leap forward in Counter-Strike's history, ensuring new features and updates for years to come. And this is pretty impressive because they are, of course, moving Counter-Strike or CSGO to Counter-Strike 2 because of the newer Source engine, and this has kind of been, I feel like, a long time coming for this game. Again, it's very, very popular, and I'm sure Valve wanted to make sure they get it right if they're going to make that move, but some of the stuff they showed is very impressive. Just, and I feel like a basic idea, but it's something that really blew me away. For example, the smoke is very interactive. So if you have like a smoke grenade out there, you can push the smoke to the side with bullets or other forceful objects like other grenades will just completely push the smoke out of the way. And that was kind of, I don't know, it looks really, really cool in motion. Also the idea that smoke will interact with different objects in the world where it will sort of pillow through like openings of windows and stuff and be more interactive rather than just kind of clip through walls. Another really cool aspect to it. They also talk about tick rate, which they say regardless of tick rate, your moving and shooting will be equally responsive, and your grenades will always land the same way. Saw some celebration online from a lot of CSGO players over that. And then if you take a look at a lot of the graphical comparisons, yes, it just looks overall better. The textures look clearer, the lighting much better, and everything just looks a lot brighter. They also discuss some of the Source 2 tools, which is really cool to see for people who want to build, experiment, all these different things in that workshop. So again, it just looks like an awesome upgrade for fans of Counter-Strike, and there are many of them out there. Unfortunately, I kind of fell off of Counter-Strike a long time ago. I remember when it first showed up as a Half-Life mod, and it was like you had Counter-Strike and Half-Life, and that was the big thing that Valve launched Steam with, and everyone hated Steam. Like we had our boxed games and our CD keys, and we liked it. And that was it. There's this really annoying Steam application. But obviously, it's completely taken over the PC gaming landscape, and now it's come full circle with the big Counter-Strike 2 release. So exciting stuff there. Looks like they have testing going on now, and they're looking to do a full launch over the summer, so make sure you keep up on that, especially if you want to get into, I guess, the testing or just be ready for launch later on. Next up, let's talk about a surprising move from Nintendo, because we figured they would go to PAX East. They have like a little booth there. They were talking about competitive aspects to it, Nintendo Versus, basically saying anything but, oh, Legend of Zelda is going to be there. Well, it turns out The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom will be there in some capacity. We can see this posted up over on Twitter. This is from Smirky. It says something's being set up in the main lobby at PAX East with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in the background. Big image board there with an animated background, and you can all see the logo, basically the box art, right, for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I also saw some later tweets that people were putting out there with images showing it looked like stands getting set up, and that makes me think of maybe statues being put up for photo ops. Kind of makes sense with the animated background, though, to have that, right? It's a nice way to advertise the game. I know people were hoping that there would be some sort of playable demo at PAX East, but Nintendo hasn't really started the big marketing push. Anytime now, I guess, but we did find out a bit more information as to what exactly this is. As again from Smirky saying, it's a QR code for a pin. Attendees who check in at PAX East, main entrance lobby, will receive a Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom lapel pin featuring Link, and they'll also receive 50 My Nintendo Platinum points. So you will have to go and scan to show that you were actually there in person for that. But that's a kind of a fun thing to have there at PAX East. If you're there, make sure you go check this out. Get the lapel pin. Why not? And hope that, I guess in the next couple of weeks, Nintendo's going to make a serious move with Tears of the Kingdom, mostly because they're running out of time. It's less than 2 months. I mean, it's about to be a month and a half until the game comes out, which tells me in the next 2 weeks, we're probably going to have a big Tears of the Kingdom Direct, a 20-minute showcase for the game, an announcement for the Switch Special Edition Tears of the Kingdom like console. This is getting strange, I know. But look, anticipation for the game is very high. Pre-orders have been shown to be good. So maybe Nintendo's just kind of sitting back a bit and making everyone wait, letting them speculate and try to look at just small snippets of footage from these trailers for gameplay to put pieces together. And anyway, here's hoping we find out more information around this title soon as we push towards its May 12th release. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about that Lego racing game that had leaked out, then been teased, and now fully announced. We can see this posted up over on Komatsu, where they say publisher 2K and developer Visual Concepts have announced Lego 2K Drive, an open-world AAA driving adventure game for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC through Steam. It will launch on May 19th, so 2 months from now, this game will be out. That's very quick from announcement to release, and I kind of like that. It's still fun to get those almost shadow drops. It's very, very close, like I had mentioned here, but we had some screenshots put out, and I looked at them and I said, that looks way better than I was expecting. And I know there's still shots, so obviously they can clean them up and make them look really, really good, take the best version of the game. But just kind of seeing that realistic looking open world with Lego bricks and structures scattered throughout it. They have some Lego looking dinosaurs and animals and stuff. It's an interesting blend, I will say that. And it being an open world, they say quote unquote AAA adventure racing game, makes me very intrigued as to how the structure of this game will be set up. Now, it is going to be set as a $70 game on the PS5 and the Xbox Series, and a $60 game on the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, with 2 other editions, an Awesome Edition at $100, then an Awesome Rivals Edition at $120. We know how 2K likes their special editions and their deluxe editions, so you have a bunch of them to pick from. The interesting part about this is it's from Visual Concepts. They do NBA 2K and they do WWE 2K. So now they're doing this big open world racing game with Lego. We also had a bit more information around customization. It says it'll feature a diverse system that allows players to build any vehicle they like with over 1,000 unique Lego pieces. And it also features cars from Lego City, Creator, Speed Champions, and even the McLaren Solus GT and F1 LM. They also have multiplayer, which allows friends to drive around in a robust co-op experience alongside competitive multiplayer with up to 6 players. It also support 2-player split-screen multiplayer. That sounds really good. I don't know. I wasn't expecting all this from this Lego driving game, but not bad. Again, we have to play it. We've just seen still shots of it, which can be dressed up to look really, really nice. But so far, so good. I like what I'm seeing here. And yeah, I'll be checking this one out when it releases a week after The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. May, like I said, is starting to stack up with some pretty interesting releases. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're going to take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask which of these games for Microsoft comes out first. Okay, State of Decay 3 is the #1 choice here. Then we have Fable, then Perfect Dark, Indiana Jones, then Everwild. Yeah, Everwild's probably my last choice on here as well, since they didn't really have the concept figured out when they showed it, which was very strange. I guess State of Decay, although we really haven't seen much about the State of Decay 3. I wonder which one comes first, Fable or Perfect Dark. You know, I do want to lean into Fable as being next, but Playground isn't exactly known for their open world action adventure RPGs. So I guess State of Decay 3 would be kind of the safe choice here, but obviously a pretty good lineup from Microsoft. Here's hoping in going into the end of this year, 2023, and then in 2024, we can start seeing release timings and windows being put on some of these games. But I guess for now, I will lean towards State of Decay 3 coming out first out of this list. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Dan saying, I watch you and RGT more than I actually play video games. What I like to do is, if I'm watching a YouTube video, usually I'll be playing a game like next to it on the side. So it does kind of depend on the game though. Like I'm playing WWE 2K23 right now, and that's one I can play while having YouTube on like on the side. But I was playing Wo Long, and I wrapped that game up earlier this week. And the final boss, maybe the final 2 bosses, could not watch something while I was trying to do that because the timing just had to be just right. There was some hesitation on some of the swings that I had to figure out, and it's a whole thing with Wo Long. But WWE has been no problem with that. However, Resident Evil 4, that's one I'm going to be locked in and playing. But that's what I like to do is while I'm playing a game, listen to a podcast or have like a YouTube video on the side, get two things done at once. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here. Today was Redfall. What do you think about the game after seeing all of those previews? And then The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, at least making an appearance at PAX East, but when does the big blowout direct happen? And then what about LEGO 2K Drive? Were you surprised at how much is going on here with this game? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.